for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America, you're free to make free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Hey! All you out there in the interwebs, on the Ubitubi, how y'all doing? I am your friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo, coming at you loud and proud as I always do, and with this magnificence upon my face. And right here to my left, and yes, this time it'll actually be the left. I stupid mirror image last time, my fault. I called it. To my left is my best friend, my compadre, the one, the only, the pastor, Gary Podosek, also known as the Sermonator.
There you go.
And then behind, do not go after the man behind the curtain, but he is there in our helm. We have Steve Cattel with us today. How y'all guys doing today?
Doing good.
How about you, brother?
You know what? It is it is going to be a good show today. I'll leave it at that. This is a subject I have. I think we kind of know where I stand based off of just Sunday.
Yes. For those of you who don't know,
so
as always, if ever you want to, listen to old messages, you go to streamsoflife.com.
That is us.
And you can listen to the past week's messages. This last one was it was a ball kicker. Let's just be quite honest there.
You caught
that. It was a good one. But just to get this out of the way, look, if you we please need you guys to hit the subscribe button, bash the heck out of that subscribe button.
Like, subscribe.
The like button. If you would like to comment, go right on ahead and throw in your comments. And we'd love to hear from you guys. But we do have a big one today. We have something, for everybody who has been enjoying, and I say that sarcastically for those of you who cannot see my face, for all of us who have been enjoying the knee pad and pee pad administration.
Oh boy.
And the way Brandon is running everything nowadays, for all of us that enjoy that, we must be ready for the midterm elections. And there are some very important reasons as to why it is important. I mean, come on. He's bragging about getting gas down to $3.50 a gallon. I'm sorry, you
got to get it down below 2, buddy.
You have to get it below 2. There's no way
before you get it to where it was.
Right? I mean, there is no pat on the back for this, getting it down to $3.50. But as it comes to voting, everybody loves to vote party. So many people want to vote party lines. They don't do the research. They just go, I've always been Democrat, I'm voting Democrat. Or I've always been Republican, I'm going to vote Republican. Or they both suck, and I'm not voting either. I refuse. So I'll vote for Mickey Mouse over here, and then vote doesn't count. But the reality is, and why the title of today is Courage or Cowardice, which will you employ? And it's because of one thing. It is time for Americans, it is time for Christians to vote with their Bible, their integrity and character, as well as their wallet. It's time. We cannot play this game anymore. We cannot sit idly by and just go, I'm going to vote. It's the lesser of two evils. I'm a Democrat, so all D, or I'm a Republican, so all R's. We can't be that way anymore. And I'm going to bring up some things that have to be said. And I hate to say it. I'm going to say it. There is no more compromising. There is no more bargaining. There is no more of this. One party shut us down for 2 years. One party refused to let us to go see family members, or tried. Let's put it this way, because not like I really listened. But one party tried to shut down the entire economy. One party is still trying to do that. One party wants to murder babies. One party wants to, take away all ownership of things, because you'll rent and you'll not own anything and you'll be happy. And one party wants to do all these things, and everybody keeps voting for them. Do you know what I find a lot of people don't do, Christians, Americans alike. Everybody wants to vote with integrity. Everybody wants to vote their letter. They don't want to vote with their faith, their integrity, or their wallet. Back up your words. If you truly want America to fall to the pits of hell, vote Democrat. Go right ahead. Just do it. Just do it.
Well, you assume that that's the plan.
Huh?
I mean, according to all your major news outlets, you have to vote Democrat because they're going to save the country.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's only one person in my opinion, and it's actually not an opinion; it's a fact. Come at me, I don't care. There's only one person who can save this country, and his name is Jesus Christ, or Jesus the Christ. Without him, this country's going to hell in a handbasket. And but as Americans, we've been voting these party lines, and it's worked. It's worked for a long time. Lesser of two evils. You stick on one thing that they stand for, and that's because they stand for that, you vote for them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I said, there's going to be no more compromise. We're not playing ball with these people anymore. There is no kid gloves. We're coming at you. And any politician who's not going to out loud and behind closed doors fight for what's right, you don't get a vote. I don't care what letter you got next to your name. I don't care who you are. This is where I stand on this. I'm very passionate about this. And for those of you who think I'm just talking a bunch of, I actually have gotten involved in the political process.
This is true.
I was working with a candidate for New Jersey governor, and I did phone calls, and I went to events, and I was doing a lot of things for this man. I sat and talked with him at his personal phone number. I've gotten involved in the political process. If you have never done it before, do it at least once, if you can. If you can, obviously, if you're an adult and you've got a job, that makes things difficult. But if you're a teenager, get involved in the political process. See how it works. But this whole idea, and the other thing that I want to say, that you can attack me if you want, but at this point, I don't care. If you vote Democrat, knowing everything they stand for, you're not a Christian. I don't care.
Well, you mind?
You can go right ahead.
Okay. The point, and there's a real value system that you have to address. And when you say you're voting Democrat or whatever, the reason why I say I pump the brakes is because there's a misalignment of what the Democrat Party stands for, i.e. same thing with what does the Republican Party stand for, right? And sadly, if you just do it in attribution, of numbers, let's just say, you're definitely going to find more bad eggs in the Democrat Party than you will in the Republican Party. But that doesn't mean
wrong. I will be saying things later today that even go against the Republican Party.
Right.
So it's not like I'm just saying, "Oh, you must vote Republican." No, it's time to open up your eyes.
This is why this is why what you're saying is true, and this is why I'm supporting you in this part. Is you're talking about midterm elections. You're talking about, voting with your bank account. You're voting with your conscience, really. And what you're saying is, if you see somebody on the ballot, I don't care if they're a Republican or a Democrat. I voted for a Democrat township. Why? Because the guy who was running for Republican was a rhino. He was bought by the system. He was paid for by the system. But the guy who was running Democrat was actually a blue-collar, hardworking guy who actually had the same values. The funny thing is that the only reason he ran on the blue ticket was because the red ticket didn't want him.
Yep.
So, and
there's
that's
a lot of people here in Jersey.
There's
a lot of people here in Jersey.
Let's be clear.
That happens.
This is a fact. People don't know this. Donald Trump would have better ran on a Democrat ticket. He had more Democratic viewpoints than Republican, but the Dems didn't want him. So he ran Republican and he smashed it. Because go back to the Republican debates. I mean, primetime entertainment at its best.
He destroyed them.
But none of those candidates, not a single one, could go toe to toe with him. The closest was Ted Cruz. The closest was Ted Cruz.
Well, yeah, and I like Ted Cruz.
He's a good senator, but again, it's talking about and speaking of Ted Cruz, here's a guy who deserves to be where he's at because he's standing up for the Constitution. He's standing up for American values. He's standing up for the rights of humans, not your gender identity, not your social status, not your fill in the blank, whatever you feel like you are today. He is talking about the human liberty, which is what all human beings are given. And if we look at it from God's perspective, again, constitutionally, we use God's perception of mankind when the Constitution was created. So you have to have this groundwork level of understanding that in God's eyes, all men are created equal. And in that now, obviously, people go, oh, well, that document's sexist because it only counts men. Well, the Bible says men constantly, and it's mankind. It's not womankind, Kamala, dumb broad. But mankind includes women. It's all people. It's not just one. It's not just one grouping. So men, it's only under the. It's going back to a biblical principle. Man was created first in God's image. Woman came out of man. Part of man. It's not separate from man. It's part of man. You're part of us. It's not separation. It's not you need a separate level of rules, rights, freedoms, accusations, whatever. It's not. That is not what it's about. It's about everybody being under the same.
Yep.
Complete. And we got to get past all that stuff too. So.
Now there's another subsect of people that I'm also talking to. There's a group of people, and I'm not talking about not liberals. I'm not talking about libertarians. I'm not talking about independents. I'm talking about the people who don't vote at all.
That would be myself.
That would be the man behind the curtain.
No, he's not alone. There's a lot of people.
But there's a lot of people. It's a subsect, okay, of people who don't vote. Now, granted, I've always been one of those people that say that if you don't vote, I don't want to hear you complain. And most of them won't. You'll still get some of them do, but just most of them won't. The problem is now, and there's a lot of Christians who don't get involved. Let me tell you what. There's a group of people in this country that have never voted for any election.
That would be myself.
No. I'm talking about generationally. Have never voted in this country. The Amish. Guess who's getting ready to vote for the first time ever in this country?
Right.
Really?
The Amish.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats are coming after them and sending the FDA and the IRS and all these people because their businesses are selling good product and food. The FDA, you can't sell that red meat because it's not FDA. Your establishment doesn't follow FDA rules. So you have now pissed off a group of people
that are very hard to piss off, by the way. Generally, you could go over there and kill their goats, and they would be like, "It's okay."
Who have they bothered?
Yeah,
well, that's the point. They're the Amish. They don't bother anybody.
Here's the thing: you've now effectively pissed them off so much that they are doing the one thing they have never done in this country, and that is vote. And they're voting as a community and everything else. They're coming out to vote.
And that's
this is why I'm talking to the people who have never voted. The people alive now that have never voted. Yes, you may be the only one in your family that doesn't vote. You may be your whole family may never vote. But I'm talking if a generational group that has never voted in this country before is now going to be voting this year, that proves the importance that now, you know what? And I'm not saying you got to vote with who I say you got to vote for. I'm saying it's time for people to wake up and make their vote count.
Well, you mentioned two things. First thing is you're talking about a community that's never voted, and the key word in that is community, right? The whole concept of voting had to do with community.
Yep.
It has to do with somebody official in your community who's going to put your interests at priority one. That's what your whole reason for electing an official.
Every election is a job interview.
Right, and we say it all the time, you work for us, right? Why do we say that? Well, because your job is literally to field the political hemisphere for the benefit of your constituents.
Yes.
Okay.
And now,
you'll hear them talk about the constituents all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick.
That's the people who hired them.
Right.
That's the people who hired them.
So, and your taxpayer dollars pay them.
Yep.
That's an automatic play. So, all right. But here's the catch. This is the thing that I think is probably more like the Amish thing is a clear line that you can see that it's being crossed, and obviously they're being attacked, not directly, not being singled out, but
they are being singled out.
But the legislature is targeting them, whether they intended it to or not.
They've weaponized the three-letter groups in the government the FDA, the IRS. We'll talk about them in a bit. They've the FBI, all these different things that they've given these 3-letter organizations. They've weaponized them, and now they're going after people to control them. Because see, here's the thing: it's real easy to control people when you get rid of food. Because there's a food shortage.
Oh, now you're getting conspiratorial. Stop.
No, it's not conspiratorial. They're setting up this country so that they can swoop in as the savior, take all your rights, and give you what you need, or what they say you need.
Look. We're going back to a principle, though, and that's about the voter, right? And or the non-voter, I should say. And so here is the number one reason why a person doesn't vote. Okay,
I think the vote doesn't
I will
count.
tell you mine.
You can tell us yours. Go ahead. I'll let you sell. I'll let you tell, and then I'll confirm whether or not it's the right ones.
Mine is very simple. I don't believe anything that they say. And
Ding.
on the second point, even if they are aligned with most of the things that I go along with or believe in, they don't align with everything. And I'm not a kind of guy who's going to pick the best out of the bad apples.
Right.
I want
and this is
if my apple's not
this
there,
is my point.
I'm not going to vote.
So you make my point, and it's 100%. The reality and the reason why people have either withheld their vote or don't vote is because candidates have been proven time and time again to be the most untrustworthy, unreliable people on the planet. This is where now this whole conversation shifts. There's 2 problems in that metric. One is there are people that probably don't do enough research. They just get the bits that they get, and they get the snippets, and they just read it, and they go, okay, well, more untrustworthy people that I don't like. Okay, what's the news going to change? Never. Okay, I'm just not going to vote because it's same old, same old. All right. To that extent, there's a margin of truth, because just take a look at the hemisphere now. You have a president, you have a vice president, you have senators, House of Representatives, all kinds of people who time in and time out go to the floor with 100% proven false claims that they still tell you, and you have a media that says, oh, that's not misinformation.
You mean like when on Sunday Biden said that the pandemic was over, and then on Monday they walked it back and said no, he's not in charge.
My favorite one my favorite one of the Biden gaffes is that he stands on a good premise that militarily we will defend Taiwan. But then the White House goes, nothing's changed in our policies as far as China.
Here's the thing. They actually
you can't have both of those opinions.
The pandemic, he said it was over. The pandemic's over. Monday, the White House literally came out and said, it's not over. Right. He's not in charge.
Who's running the country?
So that, again, still not helping.
Right. I haven't made my point. All right. So the point that I'm making here, again, to the normal select individuals who choose not to vote because the system is corrupt. Let's just leave it with that very basic line. They have proven themselves untrustworthy. They are corrupt. Right? Okay. How then does it get fixed?
Well, the problem is, again, I agree. We need to fit the right people. The problem that I have is they'll be like, okay, small example would be there's somebody who just doesn't believe in abortions, and I'm like, cool, I'm with that.
It's going to walk right into it. This is great.
And he doesn't believe in this. He doesn't believe, and I'm like, all right, cool. But then one of the other major things that I have a problem with,
all right, well, you're missing, and look, you're making valid points. These are not, number one, nobody is ever going to check every box. Nobody ever can, nobody ever will. There's always going to be minutia that is different.
The whole system is built around checks and balances.
The whole system is figured, okay, we in Jersey, okay, granted, we got a lot of Democrat liberal people. Oh, yeah. All right. But when we do get a Republican in,
bluer than that mug.
Usually a little bit to the center.
So blue.
Yeah. They tend to be, a bit centrist. But what we're voting on, and this is how the whole country works. This is how federalism works. This is how it even works if you look at it at the big scale down to the small scale. You're voting for a piece of the puzzle. You're not voting for the whole, because nobody in your because that's why everything's put in districts.
Right.
Nobody's voting for the entire picture themselves. You're voting on a piece. So if you can get enough people that believe a certain way to get voted in, then we cover more of the board. And yes, they may have, the person you voted for may have one thing you didn't like about him, but as long as the rest of them that got voted in don't agree with him, he'll never get that put in. Anything he says on that topic,
that's actually the wrong way to think about it. I agree with the premise is correct. It is correct, but that's not going to change his mind.
No,
because that's still focusing on the not. You're doing exactly what he said. You're finding a bad apple that's not as bad as the other apple to just cancel the bad apple.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's not good enough.
So that's like for me. So a good example would be, doesn't believe in abortion. Cool, I'm along with that. But has a little weird on the 2A. I'm like, I can't go along with that. Like, yeah, he may be great on 1,000 other things, but
that was the same thing with Trump. Trump was great on 1,000,001 things. He also put in something that was actually bad for 2A. Originally. Like, that was the one thing I'm like, you moron.
And then that becomes my problem, and that's why I can't go along with it.
So hear me out. What we have is, and this is the biggest political problem today, okay, is that everybody looks at the vote, and the vote that counts the most is the president.
I will never vote for the president.
All right. So hold on. But that's not the one that counts.
Correct. I know you want me to do more local stuff.
No, well, so not even that, but like not even Senate and House. Take it for this part. You have children. Your children are going to school. They're going to go into a public school system. Your vote on the school board determines whether that kid gets educated in gender social studies, or they get educated in constitutional history.
Well, again, for me personally, that doesn't affect me.
Well, right? Not in this. I understand in this particular case, but when you lived where your son lived, it mattered.
Yeah.
So to that extent, it 100% makes a difference.
And also, here's the other thing. Just because you don't have kids in schools, all y'all take a look at the generation after us.
Well, that's my bigger point.
Take a look at the generation who got after us. The fact that all these people got voted in, brought in all this agenda crap, and have been feeding it to because the kids,
of the school system.
You have kids or not.
That's true. Yeah, because I still don't want that to happen.
Exactly. So the only way that we could fix that, we can't storm the school, burn the books, destroy it. There's two ways to do it. Number one is the local board of education when it comes to public schools. When it comes to public schools, we need to vote in the right people when it comes into the local board of education. The other thing is that we need to be electing politicians on the state level that agree with school choice, because none of this stuff floats I don't want my kid learning that. I'm taking them out of the school instead of state money funding the schools,
funds the child.
They invest in the child, and the money would follow the child no matter what school they go to.
Yep.
So now it makes it an open market. And if the public school is screwing up your kid, then you can take them to a charter school. The money that it takes to teach him for a year goes with him and pays for the tuition. Guess what will happen real quick when public schools start emptying out? Teachers are going to get fired, or the school's going to shut down, and charter schools and private schools and homeschooling will take over everything. But if you don't vote in the school boards, or if you don't vote in the state elected officials that will vote that way, it'll never change.
And so like you're kind of turning. So here's the other final point, right? If you can't find the person, then we have to start making them.
Yep.
And that's a product of your society, your local groundwork first, then build up to your
the reason why the Democrats,
regional, to your state, to then the United States. You cannot expect a fallen government, a fallen world run by fallen people to be a light switch flip. And now all of a sudden, boom, it's going to turn around. Okay. If a nation is not willing to humble itself, all right, we're not going to see the change. Now, that part is a bigger macro, right? That's a huge macro. That's saying we got to have senators, governors, and or House of Representatives,
county,
really getting down on their knees, repenting for all of the harmful policies and sins that they have committed upon the United States. I would love to see that day. It is not going to happen in my lifetime, but I can start now
by raising getting them
in to make up for the losses of that time. And the only way that's going to happen is by voting. Yep. And so here's the thing, and Nolan kind of said it a little bit, but what you have to do is you have to be smart.
Yep.
You can't just vote on so here's a prime example, right? I don't know who to vote for. I'm going to go and give it a shot. All right. You go to your November 22 election. Okay. This is obviously a very midterm election. It's a super important election. Okay. You're going to come in and you're like, all right, who am I voting for? Well, the only people that are going to be on the ballot here are some local.
We have federal House of Representatives. Those are every 2 years.
Right.
We have we have
our House Representative guys, which
I think there's one.
They're important because what will they be able to do? They're going to be able to effectuate bills that
not just bills, but also stop.
They're going to be able to effectuate laws and put a kibosh on the executive order junk that stops Grandpa from running rogue. Okay, but you have a chance, depending on who's available. Okay, because you're not going to just see, oh well, there's only one guy or two guys.
You're going to see
see a bunch of them.
You're going to see there's going to be county
You're going to have your county elections.
There's going to be township elections.
Right.
There's going to be Board of Education elections.
So real quick. So the first thing you have to do is you get your little sheet. It tells you who's running. You go find out what they stand for. You cannot trust that they're 100%. Right? Which is the hardest thing for anybody who has to go and press that button to say, I want this person to represent my state, my region, my county, whatever, in this area. But here's where it does make a difference. The person you pick, at the end of the day, you go to bed knowing if that person wins, you know what you now have the ability to do? Hold them accountable. And that is the biggest problem we have right now.
Anybody who gets elected, their email, well, they're political because everybody has their public and then their political. So, whoever, even Murphy. If I wanted to, you can look up Governor Murphy and you'll get his phone number, his email, and everything for his office. Okay. Not his personal. So anybody that runs at all, period, you can look up their stuff and you can be like, I don't agree with what you're doing here. I voted for you. This is what you need to be doing. And that is look, lately I've been on the phone. I got cussed out by Jeff Van Drew because he didn't like what I called him out on it. And I told him to suck it up, Buttercup. Do what you're supposed to be doing.
So here's my other main issue as well. And you may be able to help. We'll try and use. I remember when you were talking about Singh before.
Yes.
Right. How close was he in that election?
If it wasn't for Rizzo, they oh my goodness.
And again, that is my other main issue.
This is the problem.
The people that I will like are not going to have.
All right. Here's it.
But you know what? It's that you have to look at it. That is a defeated mindset.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that proves that that's no longer a valid mindset is the turnaround that has come into a lot of fields of demographics that usually vote party line.
Yep, and now there's flipping.
People aren't not just flipping, but people are no longer just voting party line anymore.
No,
because they're finding they're seeing the error of that way because you voted party line and you ended up with crackpots like Elizabeth Warren. Well, she's a nut job and she shouldn't be in that place of office. But here she is because people just went party line. Where you have other people who are in their positions, again, a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard. There's a person who was picked because of what she stood for.
Yep.
In a state where normally would vote red, voted for her. Now, why? Because of what she stood for.
She was actually for a lot of things.
And she's more Republican than anything. But here she is on a Democrat ticket,
because
and she's
more of a centrist.
Correct. And so you gotta really look into these things and not just vote popularity contest. And that's bad because that ends up with.
I know what you're saying, especially when it comes down to gubernatorial, where they actually have to do a primary, where now they've got several people going for one position on the Republican side. And mind you, there's a lot of people going on the Republican side and a bunch of people going on the Democrat side.
Right.
They hold primary and they get it down to one on each side and you vote for that. Yes, the primary process, I will tell you, most people, and this is where a fallacy happened, and I got ticked off during
don't vote during primaries.
They don't vote during primary.
They wait to see what candidate's given to them, and then they go, and then they go like you. Okay. I don't like the guy, so I'm not going to vote.
All the votes, Republican-wise, out of all the Republicans in the state of New Jersey, if I remember correctly, only a third of them voted during the primary. A third of the Republicans voted during the primary.
Yep.
And in that, Chattarelli got half of the vote, yes. And the other two got split between – the others got split with Singh and Rizzo. And Rizzo came in late to the whole thing, and somebody who's never been pro-Trump ever in his life came in saying he was pro-Trump and also believes that Jesus was a socialist, but we won't even go there. But he came in and started stole Singh's votes. Singh would have won because between Rizzo and Singh, they had more than half of the votes.
The biggest issue you have has to do with two factors. One is government corrupt?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, it is.
But it will never change you to do nothing.
Two is the system to elect your officials feel sometimes as though your vote doesn't matter.
I will tell you,
yep,
it does. It seems imperfect, but I'll tell you what, looking at how other countries do it, if it wasn't for the Electoral College and the way that we do things when it comes to voting in this country,
dumb.
No, not dumb. New York and California would be making all the decisions for this entire country without the Electoral College.
Yep. Everybody, you would never see ever
a Republican.
A conservative.
A conservative, yeah. You'd never see
because the needs of these two major states would outweigh the rest of the entire United States of America.
And that's a fact.
Even though both of those states have total diametrically opposed living, cost of living, housing, lifestyle, you name it across the board. The only place that's close is Florida.
Right. And that's the thing, and it's not even the whole state because not all of California is Democrat.
Nope.
It's the cities. It's New York City. Right. It's Chicago. It's what are the cities in California? I don't know.
Los Angeles, San Francisco.
I can't speak communist, so I can't pronounce the
Los Angeles, San Francisco.
Since we're not one of those states,
Oakland,
we're not one of the big.
Actually, we are Trenton. Per square mile, the amount of people living in this state, we are actually the most populated. We are the most populated per square mile.
That's fantastic.
We have such a population.
We are not a swing state by any means.
No, not lately.
No.
But
we are becoming more and more purple.
But that's fine. But again, it's not in the.
But if we don't get involved and we don't vote and we don't talk to people to engage their minds, but
that thought process is exactly what Democrats want because they want you to believe you can't.
Yeah, they want you to believe you're defeated.
Because you then, by just surrendering, right, you literally give in to whatever socialist dictates they put before you.
And that's the importance of voting.
And this is the thing. The way I leave it at this, and it's maybe it does change your mind, maybe it doesn't change your mind. But here's the thing. One of the things I think is truest about what you said goes back to your Amish point. And it has to do with your network, your society, right. The people that you're connected with. One of the things that the Republican Party doesn't do that Democrats do is they rally their support.
Yep. You know what Republicans do? They look at the polls. Oh, we're ahead. Guess I don't need to go to the polls.
Well, not even that. Happens.
Or for the longest time, Republicans, and look, we were bad for this. We were like, if I just go to work, I worship my God, I keep my mouth shut, keep my head down, keep plugging forward, at the end of the day, everything will be okay.
Right.
And the Democrats came in from the bottom up, and they started small and grew. Now, we've got catching up to do. All of us, as individuals, everybody out in the interwebs, we need to stand. We're behind the 8 ball. We suck at rallying. We suck for the most part, except for a few people, when it comes to articulating and absolutely crushing Democrat lies. Like right now, I'll give it for instance. DeSantis sent 50 people up to Martha's Vineyard.
48
people up to Martha's Vineyard. Now you've got a sheriff in Texas bringing charges and an investigation against DeSantis because they're trying to say that he kidnapped.
Even though they said there's no evidence right now available that shows that there's a case.
But what do most Republicans do when something like that is thrown back? When they throw out a wild accusation, Republicans go, well, that's not true, and then walk away and keep working. DeSantis actually turns around and goes, no, this is the facts. Here they are. Shut up. He says it nicer than that. Okay, I do love how he can articulate in a very professional manner how stupid somebody is. He has got it down to a T. Okay, but I don't want to just bash on Democrats and all that. So we do need to be smart. We need to go out and vote. We need to get out there because if we don't,
but here's the thing: you're doing exactly the same thing that we've always done, and this is what I'm proposing. And maybe I'm radical in thought. Maybe I am, but I don't think so. One of the things Democrats do is when I said they rally.
Yeah.
The way they rally, the best way they rally is they get their friends.
Yep.
They bring them with them. They go to the polls together.
They bring their kids.
They make it a day.
Let me ask you a question. When you were a kid, did your parents ever take you to the polls?
No.
No, because they didn't vote.
No, they did. My mom.
Okay.
Your mom did.
But did your parents?
They don't take you to the polls. They didn't take you with
You know
them.
what Democrats do?
They take their kids.
Take their kids to the polls.
They even take Grandpa, who's still in the urn.
My parents were.
What are you talking about? My great-grandpa.
Grandpa in the urn. Hold on. Grandpa in the urn gets to vote twice.
My great-grandfather was a Republican until he died.
But look, and this is the thing.
But that's what they do. They involve everybody in it. They talk. They go, wow, man, don't you believe in this? Don't you believe it? You know? And they make it sound good. But you know, it's hilarious, especially in different subsects of this country. Really, when it comes to the Black community and the Hispanic community, both those communities are very Republican in their way of thinking.
Right.
But they've been told
that they need to vote Democrat.
And
this is my point, right? This is where the Republican Party, Republican voters, right, need to change their thinking. This is the key. You want to see midterm changes. You want to see states flip. You want to see people get taken out of their political offices, get primaried. You want to see all that stuff happen. You want to see the radical changes that you believe need to happen in order to set us back into the right framework. Here's how you do it. Ready? Just like you were saying, you need to make a day of it. You need to invite your friends. Oh, you never voted before? Come with us.
Well, first,
okay, hold on. We're going to get you registered. Hold on. We're going to get registered. Wait, hold on. But here's the other part. That's part of it. And this is the other thing. Republicans have a really bad habit of doing this. Who are you voting for? Oh, I'm voting for so-and-so. Oh, okay. I'm voting for this guy. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
See you later.
All right, good luck. Bye. You missed something here. There's a good reason to have a conversation about who you're voting for and why you're voting for them, and talking about those candidates. Because here's where that's
not even what historically Republicans have done. Historically,
well, they didn't say anything. You're right.
If you go up to historically for other generations older than ours, if you went up to them and said, "Who did you vote for?" Oh, that's none of your business.
That's none of your business. That's it. You want to know how you know you voted Republican? Who'd you vote for? None of your business. Well, you're a Republican. That's as clear as day. I already know you're a Republican. Why? Because if you're a Democrat, you know you're done. You'd be like, oh, I voted for this guy. I voted for Phil Murphy. You want to know why I voted for Phil Murphy, man? Because he believes in women's rights. He believes women have the right to abortions, and he wants to help give women free abortions, and he believes they have right to mastectomies and all these different treatments and the Planned Parenthood. He's going to support them. They will go on for 4 hours telling you why they're voting for the guy.
And you know why
It's ridiculous.
And you know why nowadays why Republicans don't say anything even though they should?
Republicans need to do it.
What you know why they won't
Seriously.
say anything is because now they're afraid to get flipped out at.
I don't care.
With their
You know what? No,
my mom.
I'm not.
I went up to.
You're talking about arguing with a Democrat. I'm not.
Oh no.
I'm talking about find your conservative friends and that they're not voting. Guess what? Come up to them and say, "Look, why aren't you voting? Here, I'm going to help you make. I'm going to help you make a better decision."
What he did would sing with me. I was like,
I'm going to help you make a better decision.
I don't like Chattarelli. I don't know who's running. He's like, you need to check this guy's sing out. And I was like,
and the only way you can do it is by spending time around people who will give you that information.
Yep.
If you do not and you isolate yourself, guess what? You're not going to vote. Why?
Yep.
Because you're going to sit on your thumbs and you're going to go, I'm not going to be change. I'm not going to make the change because my vote doesn't count. It doesn't make a difference.
all right, I do want to, and maybe this one can help.
Who's this one? Did you point to me?
No, this one.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you pointed to me. I'm like, I'm helping with what?
Okay, we all know gas prices high, economy tanking, inflation is going to burst at some point.
Your grocery bills cost more than anything in history.
You know what? It used to be cheaper to drive than fly. It's gotten so bad it's now cheaper to fly than drive. But I want to bring up something because this is, again, how important everything is this midterm. Forget a second just the, controlling the House, being able to gain control of the Senate, stopping Brandon from doing the things that he does. I'm going to bring up something that I don't realize a lot of people are saying. And this is where, as conservatives, we not only need to worry about weeding out the known garbage, but also, getting rid of the rhinos, Republicans in name only, and getting rid of people who say they believe a certain way and then absolutely don't. Because here's why. I'm going to have our producer bring up the first article over where did you put it? Uh-oh.
This one here?
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Well, actually, hold on. He's a doing
this one.
That one.
Okay. So you wanted this one.
Yes, I want that one.
Okay.
Overlay 1, we'll call it. He's getting it.
I can't overlay, but it's sure we'll do
Whatever.
that.
Well, not overlay. You're going to put up the whatchamacallit,
The link.
The link for the website. There was
Yeah.
an article that came out of GOP members signing a letter in support of a federal law to codify. It was down in the tickers, I believe, where it was.
Yep.
To codify. Now we just got to find them. There it is. To codify gay marriage into the Constitution. And look, he's going to put up the link. Follow that link right there. Okay. And some may say, oh, well, gay marriage, the Supreme Court said that you're allowed to get married. Gay marriage is legal. They're allowed to do it. Why would it be so bad to codify it in the Constitution? And there was 400 Republicans who signed this. Now, they're not there. Some of them are active politicians. Some of them are no longer active politicians. Some of them used to work for the W. Bush administration. Some have worked for other parts of work for GOP newspapers and everything else. The reason why this is bad, look, number one, marriage is not a government institution. Marriage is an institution that God created.
This is fact.
Okay? God created it. So, that's number one. So, and I don't agree with anybody who wants to be with the same sex. I don't agree with it. My mother is a lesbian. I love the woman that she's with. I don't necessarily agree with the lifestyle, but I love them both. Okay? It's not a marriage. God invented it. It's between man and woman. If you want to call it civil union, whatever, don't care. I understand why you want it. You want to be able to visit the person that you've been living with for 20 years in the hospital. You want to be able to share in the taxes, in the retirement that you've both.
Which is what a majority of them actually
want. Which is what they want.
Majority.
You want to be able to have, legal, if anything happens, and you want to be able to help them legally speaking, all these different things that really only a husband and wife can help each other with. Fine, call it something else. It's not really marriage. Call it something else. All right. The problem with them codifying it into the Constitution is this. Once they make it a constitutional right, the next thing, because if you've been watching how they've been arming and empowering the IRS, the FBI, the FDA, the CIA, all these three-letter organizations in the government, they've been arming them and getting them ready because they will make it illegal for pastors to say no to doing a gay marriage in their church. You will no longer be allowed to say, well, it's a constitutional right. You can't say nothing now. Also, it'll be like, oh, wait, you've got a 501c3b?
Can I say
Uh-huh.
Can I say?
Can't say
Can I
no.
say?
Wait,
Can I
you
say
have a
nay?
nonprofit?
No, thank you.
No, that says no. You can't say no.
You have a nonprofit status.
Nay.
Now they've given guns and they've weaponized the IRS, and you decide somebody reports you for not officiating a gay marriage in your church, then they can come in, guns a-blazing, arrest the pastor, shut down the church, and take away your nonprofit status and confiscate everything because you've broken
Yes,
the
it's
law.
Orwellian. No question. It's Orwellian.
Oh, yeah, no, it's definitely Orwellian. No, we know this.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's 100% Orwellian.
and I hate to say, like I said, there are 400 Republicans signed this letter. Please put up or the overlay with the names.
Oh, okay.
It's up there.
Yep. So you're not going to see us.
That's fine.
These are the 400 names. And yes, there are people from all states. See, there's New Jersey right there.
So if you're watching live, you can't. But if you're watching it in a video,
Believe me, we're
you
gonna have
can pause. You can pause to read.
Yes. Okay, you can pause to read. 400. Now, not all of them are politicians. Some of them just worked for politicians. They work in GOP circles.
They sign their last name with an R after it. That's all that matters.
They sign their last name with an R after it, and they sign this letter to say their support, and they demand it to happen. Okay, this is absolute. This is a big reason why anybody who believes in conservative values, anybody who believes in the freedom of all people, even all religions, because this wouldn't just be with churches. Hate to say it, but Muslim synagogues ain't doing gay marriages in them. But now they can't say no.
No, they
Not
can.
synagogue, Muslim. No, it's not a synagogue. It's Muslim mosque. Jewish synagogues. They wouldn't.
They will be able to say no.
No, they won't.
Oh yeah, they will.
They may allow them to, but if enough people made a stink, they could come in there, guns blazing, and go, "You will do as you're told," or whatever, because they've made it a right. It's not a right. Really, marriage is not a government institution, so government should not be in control of what marriage is.
And this is where, as funny as this is, the separation of church and state is more implicative than what it was deemed to be when they called it the separation of church and state. The state is
separation.
there is no
And that's a
separation.
violation of the Constitution.
Correct.
Of the First Amendment.
Well, it's a violation of a church's right. Okay, there is a religious freedom that we have in this nation, and what that would then single-handedly be doing, okay,
It's taking away that
is
freedom.
taking away that. Well, it would be making the church, and maybe I'm a little off my rocker here and possibly saying this, but it smells like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck. It's a kitty. It's 2022. It can be whatever it wants to be. Hey.
Did you ask it what
It's
it was?
2022. It can be whatever it wants to be. All right. But hear me out. All right. What you're getting prepared for is, and Democrats are known for this. This is a very, very, very shrewd tactic. They play the whole pay attention to what I'm doing over here while the misdirection comes underneath and does something over on the side. Okay, they're magicians. Why am I saying that? Here's what they're doing. They're setting up this whole plan of gay right marriage bill, codifying it, making it law, where now you have to legally marry gay couples, whether it goes against your religious
Whether it goes against your religion or not.
Okay. If you were to take every church in the entire United States of America right now and poll them on whether or not they would shut their church down or marry a gay couple, how many would you say would say, percentile-wise, do you think would say shut down the church?
Do you want me to say this honestly?
Yep.
I would say a third.
You think a third of the entire United States Christian church movement would shut down their churches rather than marry a gay couple?
Knowing what I know about the
I disagree with that.
Knowing what I know about the Baptist churches and the Methodist churches right now,
there are a lot of churches, and granted, maybe a majority of the Catholic Church would probably capitulate because they already have.
Your televangelist wouldn't be able to pay for his Bentley if they shut down. Okay?
Listen. And therein lies, if let's just say you're right, I tend to think it's probably going to be about 50, but that's besides the point. Either way, you have to missionally look at it objectively as that's actually the play. The play is not to have gay couples getting married in churches because guess what? Gay couples don't want to get married in churches. Most of them don't. Most of them don't. They don't want to do it at all. They don't want to be in a church. They feel uncomfortable in churches. I have gay friends. It took me forever to get them to come to a church that was like for a funeral or something like that or a concert because I'm going to burn alive in a church. If you combust in flames in this church, I will put you out, and I will find a guy who lit a match underneath your seat and beat the crap out of him because that is not God. That is not what He does.
And see, this is the only gay, trans, whatever couples that would do it or want to do it are doing it to cause a scene,
to make the scene,
to make a point, to cause the problem.
They're the cogs.
So, but this is the thing. This is where the importance come in. What I said in the beginning, where people need to stop voting party line. Stop voting letter, take the letters out of it, and you need to do your investigation. You need to do your homework. You need to know who's running, what they believe.
And there's one other big thing that you're leaving off, but we'll leave it at the end.
Well, yeah. So this is a very important thing. Now, mind you, in the beginning of this, I did say that we need to vote with Scripture or our faith. We need to vote with our integrity and character. And then the last thing is we need to vote with our wallet.
That's correct.
Okay. Look, I have kids.
You're going to steal it from me. Dang, nabbit.
I have kids. He's been around a lot of kids.
Whoa.
As their uncles.
Pause.
Sorry.
Hard pause.
He's got a lot of kids in his life.
I have a lot of
family members.
Thank you.
He communicates.
I am connected with a lot of adults who have children. Okay? And your children are very, very much a fan of me. And
yes.
Thank you.
So,
let's be clear. This is
as people who have children, whether
check my messenger.
People who either have their own children or are aunts and uncles, whatever. Sometimes you need to entertain them. In generations past, things like Disney, Nickelodeon, and other things were maybe not great entertainment, but
can't even get a kid a comic book nowadays.
Marvel comic books, they were all great. But now you have Disney openly saying that they're going to bring the LGBTQ. Well, actually, it's not the LGBT. They're just bringing the trans agenda. No. Take the LGB out of it because even the LGB don't want to be in it.
LGBTQ, LMN, PQRSTV.
I'm just going to call it the trans map
AIP
people.
plus.
Yeah. The trans map people are the ones that are saying that they're going to bring this agenda into Disney, and they're going to bring all this stuff into Hulu. I mean, the garbage is on Hulu, Netflix. Even comic books, which were so great to just read about people who do extraordinary things with impossible abilities and overcome their flaws to be heroes.
I'm going to go one higher than you.
And now they want you to believe that Spider-Man, who can crawl up walls, is a paraplegic, non-binary, trans in a wheelchair.
Please tell me you're joking about that one.
No.
Oh,
well, Superman was a homosexual.
Oh, well, let's not forget about the homeless, gay Captain America.
Look.
There's still some good ones out there.
We're getting a lot off topic.
So
but
what I'm saying in this is
Yes.
that we can't just vote with the ballot box.
Right.
We just can't vote by speaking out against the bad stuff, the stuff that's garbage. But we need to stop spending money on things. I've recently, because finally Marvel
I've been saying this for a long time.
Marvel did the one thing. The only reason why I was sticking with Disney is because of their own Marvel, and Marvel did the one thing. Nope, I'm done. I've canceled that. I've canceled Hulu. I got rid of Netflix back with the cuties crap.
Yep.
But there's other things out there, not just those things, that we know that these companies stand for horrible things. I'm going to be switching my phone to a company that is Christian and conservative, because the cell phone company I have is giving money to people who believe in murdering children, giving preteens puberty blockers, and voting in Democrats.
The phone company that's doing that.
Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, must I go on? All of them.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm going to another one. I'm not going to say who they are. They're not giving me any money. But I'm going to go to another one who I know is Christian and Christian conservative, and they believe in the Second Amendment. They believe in the right to life. They believe in these things. And they're actually going to be about $60 cheaper a month for what I need.
Can I roll out some other thunder for you?
Yes.
Because although you're repeating things that I've been saying for
Years.
yeah, probably. I don't know when I pulled all the plugs, but I think it was probably I think it was back when.
I mean, I stopped watching football because of Black Lives Matter.
But I think I pulled the plug on football before Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But it was right around that time, same period of time. I just withdrew.
The Kaepernick knee.
I withdrew from all of that and got rid of my cable, got rid of all the channels, got rid of all those other things because, and it's. I understand you can't pull out of everything. It's very difficult because some of the platforms have not been established. But one of the other things that I think is matter-of-factly must be shifted out of is social medias. I know it's hard. I understand. Believe
We're
me.
on one right now.
Believe me. I am fully aware.
And I also use Rumble.
But the reality of the major companies, the power that they have generated and the control they have, especially over the freedom of speech, talking about censorship, talking about points of views being silenced, talking about what's being
president
pushed.
having his account shut off.
I don't even care about that. That's bad, but that's not even the worst part. What's worse is the 100% pushing of agendas and things that fit their narrative versus the silencing or demonetizing or whatever of things that don't. And you're seeing this polar shift.
Did you hear
because
about Texas though? No, what the appeals court in Texas did?
No.
Apparently, there was a law being made in Texas to where citizens can sue social media companies for, like, if their account is taken down or if content is taken away, they can sue them. They can sue them. Well,
that's a start.
The original judge that they made this law, and a judge, they tried to sue against this law, and a judge voted against, made a thing.
Yeah.
But the appeal judge in Texas said that no, that because the social media companies were coming out saying, no, we have a First Amendment right, just like newspapers, to stop this from happening.
You're a publisher then.
And they came out and said, you're not a newspaper. You don't have the right.
You're a town square.
What you do have to do is you can come out and say personally whatever you want as a company,
Correct.
but you can't stop anybody else from saying what they want. So now it's going to start trickling out. Watch out, YouTube. Watch out, Tiki-Taki. Watch out, all these companies that have been silencing people, because now it's getting to the point where the everyday American is going to be able to easily sue you.
Well, and for the hardest part of this problem is the violations of multi-global conglomerates. You're talking about people that are covering, like, let's just say YouTube for this example period. YouTube is not just a United States entity.
It was originally.
It was, but it isn't any longer. It now spans. So when you're talking about having to restrict based off of countries that don't have the same speech amendments or same kind of constitutional rights and freedoms that we do here, it becomes a very, very slippery slope. But to that extent, why am I saying what I'm saying about the media companies, and why am I saying the importance of it? Because there are alternatives.
Yep.
In certain veins, in certain places, in certain outcomes, there are alternatives. And so what people really need to start doing, when you're saying about you're putting your money where your mouth is, basically,
but also putting your time,
putting your investment into things that are worthwhile. This also boils down to, Rumble's not better than YouTube because, well, Rumble just started. And YouTube's been around.
Actually, they're not bad though.
Hold on. But this is my point. YouTube's been around since, like, what seems like almost forever, since internet started. Like, it wasn't far after the internet had gotten gone.
Some years now.
I mean, it's an Alphabet Google company, but you're talking about YouTube having, like, just come out of, like, the MySpace world into existence, and then all of a sudden now you have this huge video platform sharing company that it took over. And Rumble is only how many years old? Maybe a couple, three, four. So there you go, 2005. So it is
17 years. YouTube's only 17 years old.
It's got a lot of catching up to do. But here's where the difference comes. If you just stick with one and you go, well, yeah, but all the people are still on YouTube and all that stuff, that's great, that's fine.
Which is why certain people that we listen to, like Steven Crowder and a lot of other ones, yes, they're still on YouTube,
but they're on Rumble too.
But what
are they doing?
Telling people to go to Rumble.
Go. Right. Make your shift. Make your change. Because
Crowder has specifically said that he will, as soon as he can get all his fans and viewers to go to Rumble, he's gone. Bye. He'll never have to deal with YouTube again.
Blaze Media was back over there. Dan Bongino obviously has very vested interest in Rumble. You know, and I mean, I'm just bringing up some conservative guys, but what I'm saying is like, you know, even your entertainment.
TikTok.
I'm saying your entertainers. Like, you know, we watch a group from where are they from? New Zealand, right? Yeah, guys from New Zealand that are really entertaining and really funny to watch, right? And they have Patreon account, and they do all this stuff on YouTube, but they're starting to put stuff up on Rumble. I would love to see them put all their stuff on Rumble, because you know what I would never watch them on anymore? YouTube, because I don't want to support the system that is obviously corrupt and broken. I'd rather support the system that lets them do whatever they want. If they wanted to do some kind of comedy skit that was making fun of, like, I don't know, COVID, right? They can't do that on YouTube, but they can do it on Rumble.
Yep.
And the thing is that kind of separation is so wide. I would want every comedian, if you're a comedian, get off of YouTube. Go to Rumble. Why? Because you can actually tell your jokes. You don't have to censor everything.
Music artists,
you know, it's
go on there.
I'm not.
Brewer, his new stuff is on YouTube.
I'm not even talking about, like, I'm not saying it like censored in the sense of like, oh, profanity or things like that. I'm talking about the viewpoints. I'm talking about the silencing of these types of things. Right. Character. We have gotten to the point, and again, bringing this all around, we have stopped caring about this country, the values, and the things that matter to us. We say they matter to us, and we go, well,
I'll stick with what you're at.
I'll control it. Well, not only that.
That's what I say. Is it going to be courage or cowardice?
Well,
are you going to courageously?
But people tend to think that I can just control it in my own. I'll do it in my house. If it's in my house, I'm safe. Well, what are you going to do when they knock on your door and they start pulling you out?
Yep.
1984.
What are you going to do when they come to your church, which is supposed to be safe, and they start pulling you out? What are you going to do? Because if you don't do something now, you're letting them know that's what you want to see done in the future.
Yep.
You have to do something now. This is the time. I'm not saying this first primary election that's of major importance, because you can see a shift in the current governance of the Joe Biden era come to a much desperately needed ceasing halt so that the bleeding can stop. Yeah, that's one point, but it has to be bigger than that. We can't just be voting as we've been doing constantly, just to, like you already said, I'm just voting for the guy that's going to just cancel out the other guy. I just don't want that guy to have any more, so I'm just going to vote for this guy. He's just not as bad as that guy. No, we have to make better choices. And if we don't like the choices, we need to let them know we don't like the choices. And I'm going to even be so brave as to say, if you're one of those people that goes, I don't like these choices. I don't like these choices. I need somebody that stands for this. And you put all those things on your finger and you go, well, do you stand for this? 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 Then why don't you run? Why don't you step up to the plate? Because that's not going to happen unless you do something about it.
I have thought about it. I'll be honest. I'm thinking about it.
Can I be honest?
What?
I wouldn't vote for you.
Wow.
I'm joking.
No, I'm seriously because of that very reason.
I might vote for you. Maybe.
I don't live in your county.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't even live in your district.
I'll get a fake mustache. Yes, I'm here to vote for Mr. Bryan. He's here. Yes, I vote for him.
But I'm thinking about it seriously. In all seriousness, I don't know if I'll run in any elections coming up in the next, couple of years. But I'm actually thinking about it because of that. But what you just said,
because if nobody's stepping up to the plate to represent what your values are, then you might need to start
say that I'm not going to fight to win. But I also look at it this way: even if you have a snowball's chance in hell to win. Even if you have a snowball's chance, Ed Durr is number one. But even if you don't win, the outcome is you don't win, can you enter the fight and shake it up to the point where people actually have to pay attention to what you're saying?
Do you know why Ed Durr won?
No.
It wasn't because he had the most money.
Nope.
It wasn't because he had a lot of career history in politics. Matter of fact, he had zero. Okay? It's because he believed that the citizens in this state have a right to carry.
Huh.
And that is single-handedly why he won. And beat the long-term seated, standing...
The most evil, most powerful politician we've had in this state for decades.
Evil very strongly. But anyway, he won.
Him.
And he beat him. And so you can't lay on the fact that just a no-name guy off the block can't win an election. No, that has been proven now. They can.
I mean,
they absolutely
can. And look
at
it from the other side, as much as I can't stand her, the AOC was a nobody bartender who won.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on both sides.
Of TikTok.
No, not because of TikTok. Because the Democrat Party pushed her.
Yeah,
but anyway, we've now hit over an hour. We're almost hit an hour and 10 minutes.
Because you talk too much.
Yeah, and look, I told you I was fired up on this one. I've been planning this one. These guys know I've been like the last 3 days sending them things. And
I just like busting your stuff.
But anyway, we just want to thank you. Give you some things to think about. Give you some things to chew on. Are you going to be courageous or are you going to use cowardice? You're the only one that can do it. You need to make that decision.
True.
And you need to do so voting with your ballot, voting with your integrity and character, and voting with your wallet. So, we thank you for joining us at the corner of church and state, where there is no separation. In 2 weeks, we will be back on October 4th. And we're going to, we're going to go after the church because October 4th we're going to talk about gatekeeping Christianity. So Come on in and talk. Meet us here. Mind you, as always, you can always check on the link tree that's in the bio for everything church and state, where to find everything we got going on, Tiki-Taki, Facebook, all those things, Rumble, YouTube, Ubatuba, all those stuff. For my brother over here,
streamsoflife.com. We already talked about it.
Streamsoflife.com.
You got it.
And if you happen to be in southern New Jersey on a Sunday morning around 10 o'clock and you need a place to worship, you can look up on that website. You can find the address.
Yep.
And come worship with us, and we will welcome you with open arms, and we would call you brother, sister, and enjoy worshiping with you.
Yep.
Yeah. So we thank you guys for watching and having fun.
Voting's
We'll see-
important.
Yep, and we shall see you in 2 weeks. Peace.
God bless.
America, your freedom ain't free in America. Got soldiers dying overseas, so America, you say what we believe, my America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my scars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Obviously,